Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about medical coding. What kind of a career field is this, and is it right for you? If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys, so new year, new career, new you, right? A lot of people are asking me basic questions about this career field, and I want to share some things today that make up my day-to-day, and what is it like to be a medical coder, and what are some of the things that we have to possess as medical coders to be successful. And I'm also going to make you think about some things that you should consider for yourself before pursuing this career field. This career field takes a lot of discipline, takes a lot of dedication to learning, and so because of this, not everybody is up for that. So this career field is not for everybody. But I will never tell somebody don't do it because you're going to have to make your own decision anyway. And whatever you decide to do, you have to make sure that you think about all the things around you that are going to be potentially impacted. Okay, so just something you got to know right away. So here we go. So to be a medical coder, you have to read a lot, and so it helps if you are a reader by nature, okay, because we do sit down, we have a very sedentary job, but you taking care of yourself as far as like getting up and moving around, that's on you, but I will say that if you are going to be in this field, that it's important to know reading is fundamental to what we do. We have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. And this is a very tall order. We have to understand medical terminology. We have to understand anatomy. We have to understand pathophysiology and pharma. We have to know all of these things in order to do our job appropriately. Now, this knowledge doesn't come overnight. It doesn't happen in a 3-month program. It does not happen in a 6-month program. It takes time to develop this skill. I always tell people, if you're going to pursue this, at least get into a program that's 9 months, 12 months, or 18 months. If you're in a shorter program, just make sure that you are supplementing your studies so that you fill out that time. Because there's a big difference between somebody who is studying only for less than 6 months versus a person who is studying for 9 months. Okay, I'm just going to say that, all right? But yes, we do read a lot. It does take concentration. When we are looking at these records, and we have to change mindsets because it's not the same patient that we're looking at all day. If you're in the outpatient side, you may have a couple of encounters that are for the same patient if you're coding for different clinics, but for the most part it's going to be each individual patient. So it's going to be new patients all the time, and you're going to have different providers that you're going to be working for, because most of the time you're in a clinic. You're in a clinic, or they're assigning you providers, or they're assigning you to a particular specialty. And so you're going to have to code for that particular specialty. Now, every place is different. They have different rules and the way that they set up their workloads. But the way that it's done at my facility is I work in a clinic. So I have 2 clinics that are all mine. All the providers are all mine. I have podiatry and orthopedics. I love this because I can focus on this particular specialty. Now, this involves knowing about injuries, it involves knowing about the bones and the feet. So there's a lot of things that go into coding for this particular specialty of mine. But it's reading, and it's learning, and it's taking the time to invest off the clock into different classes, or getting books. As you see, I'm not shy about books. Getting different books so that you can learn, so that you can perform your job better, so that you can understand immediately what you're looking at when you're looking at these notes. And so that's a really big deal. And if that scares you, it should scare you. But it should also motivate you to say, this is a job that I would never be bored at. And it's true. Unless you get into a repetitive clinic, and then you have some kind of, motivation to get moving somewhere else if you're in one of those, repetitive clinics. For some people, they say, oh, that would be a dream. But when you get in it and you start doing the same thing over and over again, and it's really easy to get really bored fast. So, and that's the best way to lose your skill. And you don't want to do that. So concentration and reading are two big things, right? Comprehension of what you're reading is key. And like I said, taking the time to invest off the clock for classes, just different additional classes, or taking the time to read on these websites about these particular specialties. I have spent many an hour reading orthopedic articles and articles about podiatry and all the things that go with it. I've also done this for other specialties, as I've been asked before in the past to rescue other clinics in my hospital, and I've done so successfully. And they've been able to, okay, we've got this thing down now. But it takes somebody who cares, and you have to care about what you do. This is not a field. Medical coding is not a field for people who are after the money, okay? I never worried about money, and the money's always come to me. I've never worried about money, and the money has always come to me. There's a lot of people that are looking to get into medical billing and coding simply because of the money. And now we don't talk about money in specifics. I don't give dollar amounts specific on my channel. I never have, and I never will, because everybody pays differently. But here's the thing. A lot of people are writing me. I've gotten 3, at least in the last week, with the same thing, saying the same thing. Well, I looked at the median salary for brand new medical coders to start, and it's just so low. Okay, so how high are you expecting to have the starting pay be when you haven't worked up to it? That's just business common sense. If you're not going to hire somebody who has no experience, never done this before, or has medical experience but never, really on the coding side before, you're not going to start them off at a super high salary, which is what I see these schools promise these people. And you're not going to do this because why? They're not going to understand what they're doing. You're not going to get the production out of new people like you would a veteran person, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with new people. New people just need a chance. And you have to have the tenacity, which is another thing you have to have, to go after the job that you want. So, with that said, the thing is that you have to know that what you start at is not going to be your forever salary. That is just what you are starting at. Now, if you start at something that is decent for not having experience, and let's just be honest and real, okay? Something that is decent, something that, it's not going to be what you probably left at your previous job. And for some people, it's going to be way more. It really all depends. You may take a pay cut, but you can always make that up later. You will make it up in time. It's just earning your stripes, basically. But you're not going to make what you used to make at a previous place where you've had experience and you've had time to build yourself up. You are not going to make that same amount starting as a brand new medical coder. I'm just going to say that because that's just a realistic way to look at it. Now, if you're willing to take a few steps back, don't worry, because you'll be able to get that money later on down the line. I've talked about this on a couple of videos over the past couple of weeks where I follow this Instagrammer, and she was talking about this article that she had read about people who move jobs every 2 years so that they can get those incremental pay raises, because sometimes when you stay at one place, they won't give you pay raises regularly. And so in order to work around this, you take your experience, you work for 2 years, take your experience, and you move on. You don't necessarily have to stay there for 2 years. I moved twice before I finally got my forever home job, and I got the pay bumps every single time, and I got very nice pay raises for the 2 jobs that I had before. And not only that, that was not bad for somebody who was just starting out with less than 1 year of experience. But I never worried about the money. So if you're worried about the money and that's what's preventing you from getting into this is probably not the field for you anyway, because that's what you're going to be concentrating on instead of concentrating on what's important, which is learning. Because I always feel like I have to catch up with these doctors because they had all these years to be a doctor, and I have had all these years to be a medical coder, and I've got to learn all this stuff. So that's why I've been teaching myself over the years. I spent a lot of time learning. If you guys knew my own personal schedule, most of you, it would make your head spin, because I don't think any of you would be able to keep up with what I have to do all the time. And I do what I do every single day. And oh yeah, you betcha, studying is a part of it. Studying, I don't think I have any days off from that. There's always something that I'm doing that's related to coding or related to something else that I'm learning about. So because of this is, to me, is fine, because this is how I'm disciplined. And that's the other thing too, is you have to have discipline. There's a lot of people that want the reward now rather than being patient and having that patience to wait for, the delayed gratification. And if most people, is instant gratification nowadays. That's why they like these little ticky-tock things. It's like 15 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, and then, oh yeah, boom. Okay, here's your information. This is the meat of the potato, boom. And they don't give their brains time to have that process. You have to have a beginning, a middle, and an ending in order for your brain to be able to process all of this information, which is why you will not catch Medical Coding with Bleu on TikTok. I will not do TikTok because of that very reason. I think TikTok and all these other little quick things are contributing to the shortened attention span that most adults have. And that's not good, guys. It's not good to do this to yourself, because you're not giving your brain a chance to critically think. And what happens when you have so many people who have that hit of dopamine, right? When they watch these little quickie, TikTok videos, and they just get to the meat of the potato. There's no beginning, there's no middle, there's no ending. So they're just accepting what they see. Oh yeah, that's instant, it's instant, it's instant. Well, guess what happens? Then you're going to accept anything that's put in front of you, and you're not going to critically think. So again, critical thinking is a huge part of what we do as medical coders, and it's a huge part of being successful as a medical coder. If you don't know how to critically think, or if you just accept what everybody tells you without doing your research, that's wrong. You have to want to do your research. Again, because it's a huge part of what we do. Now, there's nothing wrong with asking questions and having it explained. But you also have to take the responsibility of, okay, well, I have this question because I see this and I see this. I think this. So which is it? Now, that tells me that person's trying to critically think. It's not just, what is the answer? Because trust me, I get that too. And that's again, it's not good. You have to be able to think. You have to be able to think. You have to be able to do your research. You have to be able to defend yourself. Medical coding requires you to be able to defend your work. Now, it can't be that you're going to blame Sue, Jane, or Sally because they told you this is how we do it, and this is the coding, and this is what we do. Just put these codes in because that's what the doctor wants. Without actually looking at the documentation, you're wrong. And again, that causes a lot of drama and a lot of problems that you don't want. You have to be able to question what you're looking at. You have to be able to question, what you're reading, and you have to be able to defend your coding choices. Now, if you're told in an audit, maybe that you got something wrong, okay, and your auditor is gracious enough to say, okay, this is the reason why. And they can give you official references and resources because that's what they're supposed to do. Not that, oh, this is what I say, and auditor stands by their word. Get out of here. Get out of my face with that. Because to me, that does not stand. When I hear an auditor say something like that, that does not stand. And I will not follow an auditor that is like that. Because if I have the proof on my side, according to Coding Clinic, according to the guidelines, oh yeah, you betcha, I'm going to stick with that. So that's the way that you have to be. But that kind of confidence to be able to defend yourself comes with time, and it comes with more study, and it comes with, okay, it's accepting the fact that it's a lot that you're going to learn in this career field. And if you're worried about the little picayune things in the beginning, like, because you don't have experience. You have training and you have skill. You just have to be able to get it in somewhere. You have to be able to get your experience. And because you're going to get your experience, that's going to help you to build onto your next place wherever you go. So that way you can make more money. And so that way you can get more comfortable and more, things or whatever it is that you want to do. So, but those things, again, is delayed gratification. You're not going to get all these big fancy things up front. You are going to earn your stripes. And that's just the way that this industry is. Do I wish it would be a little bit easier for new medical coders to get in? Yes. Do I see a lot of ignorance even in the job listings? Oh yeah. I see a lot of ignorance in these job listings, and I'm like, I would never work for a place like this, only because of the simple fact that you don't even know what you're talking about in the job listing. You don't even understand what it is that you're asking this person to do. All you're just doing is just putting things together, patching it together like you see out in the street. So no, I don't think so. But again, it takes research. You know, people email me all the time. How do I get started? How do I do this? How do I do that? Oh, Blue, I watch your videos all the time. Really? You watch my videos all the time? Because if you did, all these questions that you're asking me could have been answered in the description box. It could have been answered by doing a simple search through my videos, or literally just scrolling back to the videos, because I post videos 4 nights a week. And trust me, I got over 1,200 videos. Everything that you ever wanted to know, trust me, is in there. There's examples on coding. There's all these things. I don't do them so much now because of the simple fact that there was a lot of ungratefulness when I was doing it. So I was like, no, I'm going to do it for my Patreons now. So I have my Patreon channel if you're interested in that. And that you can find in the description box below. So it's a tall order, what we're asking for new people to do. But is it worth it? Absolutely. It is absolutely worth it. I'm in a career that I absolutely love. I'm excited to go to work every day. Yes, there are chore things at work that I would rather not do. That's any job. No job is going to be perfect. But for the most part, I'm excited to see my providers. I'm excited to teach them. I love to see their faces when they get that aha moment, when they finally understand, and when I finally break through that exterior and I'm able to connect with them. That is the most amazing thing. And I love that. I love being able to see that. I love still having connections with providers who have left and gone on to different places, who still reach out for my assistance. I love that. And they have questions and they know they can come to me. And I love that. That is the best feeling in the world. You know, there's nothing better than that. But with that said, that's something that you guys got to think about, that's what you're going to be getting into. And that the pain that you're feeling right now from studying, that pain that you think of, oh my gosh, is this worth it? You know, this school lied to me and they said they were going to teach me and it was only a 3-month program, and Medical Coding with Blue says I should be in school for 9 months. You can supplement your studies. Those books that I recommend are in the description box below, and there's absolutely no reason to panic because this is to be expected. There are some schools that, you know, they have really great instructors. I don't know. I don't know them because I don't know them personally. I don't promote any schools because I don't have relationships with these schools, okay? And then there are some where I look at what they're paying the instructors and I'm like, yeah, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel there because that's what you're going to get for that kind of pay, you know? So, but, you know, to each his own with these schools. But with that said, let me ask you these questions and let you think about these things before I wrap this up. There's some people who write to me and say, well, Blue, I have this disability or that disability. Can I do this? First of all, I never answer these questions. Why? Because to me, I don't know the work ethic of that person. I don't know the study ethic of that person. And I really don't know what they are all capable of, because there are so many assistive devices that will help people who have disabilities, right? To do work, okay? And especially work that involves a computer. Okay, so with that said, I will never say no to if you can do this, if you cannot do this, because that's up to you. That's what you have to make that decision for yourself. I will say that the health information field is very adaptive to people who have disabilities. So that's something that you should be encouraged by, okay? Because you cannot be discriminated against, you know, for having a disability, because there's the Americans with Disabilities Act. We all know this, okay, guys? But if you're sitting here thinking about all these things and spinning your wheels and, oh, can I do this? And, oh, you know, instead of trying to make a way for yourself and not seeing these things as roadblocks, seeing them as, okay, well, how can I adapt to this environment, okay? I even had one person, and sometimes I don't know what some people are thinking. So the person wrote me and said, Blue, I'm mute. can I do this? And I said, well, this is highly adaptive. This is a highly adaptive career field, and they will give you extra time. Both associations will give you extra time should you need it, with, of course, a doctor's note and things like that, because they have, those things where they can meet you at accommodations. They have accommodations for people who have disabilities to be able to take these exams, so it's no big deal. And then she wrote back and said, oh, I can hear. I just have a speech impediment. A speech impediment and being mute are two different things. Okay? They're two different things. Hello? And then she said, oh, well, I don't have time to go to the doctor and go get a note. I have to take care of my family. So something's not right there, okay? Some rotten in the state of Denmark on that one. But what I'm saying is this: you're going into a field where people are not going to, they're not going to want to mess around with people who are trying to mess around with people's time. That lady was trying to mess around with people's time, okay? I don't know what her game was, what her end result was, but this is why I will say this. If you have a disability and you're thinking about getting into this, and you know that there are assistive devices, and you know this is something that you can do, then that is your reasoning to think if you can move forward or not. Because again, both associations have accommodations for people who have disabilities, and then you cannot be discriminated against by an employer if the employer can make reasonable accommodations for you. So that's what I'm going to leave right there. But guys, please don't be writing to me lying, because I can spot a liar a mile away. I can. And it's not a pleasant thing, because again, all I try to do is help people. I try to help people. And if you are trying to figure out what you want to do, but you want to sit here and waste people's time, please don't message me. Please don't do that. Because again, I have other things that I need to be doing. Okay. So with that said, if you decide to pursue this career field, just know that there are rewards down the line for those that are patient enough. And when you take the time to learn more and you take the time to educate yourself, whether it is trying to figure out which association to go to, or looking in the videos, looking through the videos to get your questions answered, you're going to be a lot better off because of it. Google, let your fingers do the walking, okay? If you have a particular question or something like that, those are things that you can take to Google. But I will say, don't get hung up on the small details. Don't get hung up on the small details. Look at the overall picture and look at where you're going to be should you stick with this. Should you stick with wanting to pursue this career field, and even when the going gets tough, that you're not going to sit there and give up, okay? Because I have seen a lot of people that, I have a study group now that it's these friends, and they're all together and they're sticking together because they're like, we didn't learn, but we're going to learn from you. So I think that's fantastic. That's a beautiful thing, because even though they had every reason to give up or to want to give up, they said no, and that they're going to try anything and everything they can to understand, and they're committed. And that's what I love about those girls, But with that said, I wish you the best on your journey. Don't be discouraged if you decide this is not what you want to do. Okay, if you decide that this is just too much, don't be discouraged. There's other career fields out there that maybe won't take as much knowledge like us, and maybe won't take as much study time, and you can get through faster. And there's all these other things, but you need to think about what's going to end up making you happy, because you have to have this career for all of your career, whether you're just out of high school or whether you're retired and you're getting back into the workforce. You're going to have this, and what you spend your time on, you want to be able to enjoy. Okay, you don't want to end up in a career that you're going to be miserable, and then you say, oh yeah, I'll wait till I'm retired, and then when you're retired you don't know what to do. Enjoy your career now. I find myself very, very fortunate because I love what I do. I get up every day and I'm excited to go to work. I'm excited to do things for my Patreon audience. I'm excited to talk about medical coding with you all here on YouTube, because to me it's a great thing, and I love it. And again, if you don't worry about those other little details, everything will work out. Everything will work itself out. But again, those who are getting hung up on those details, you're going to find yourself hung up on a lot of details. And it's going to be more excuses. I'm just saying. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.